Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Massive flames shoot from the roof of a Southwest Bakersfield home, and the fire now being called an explosion. Who was hurt and what police are saying about the incident this morning.
And the latest on a deadly stabbing near Foothill High School, drawing a large crowd of hundreds of students just as school was getting out.
In about 5 hours, House Democrats will take the Senate floor to present their case against President Donald Trump. This after some last-minute rule changes yesterday. We'll have the latest. This is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2020. I'm good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. A lot to get to this morning, a lot happening today.
But first, we're going to take a look at your forecast on this Wednesday. And it was a beautiful day yesterday, and I know that we were kind of looking at the weekend to see if there's possibly some rain coming our way.
By the end of the weekend, yeah, that's the time frame that we're going to be looking for here. Yesterday, you're right, it was beautiful. We had 62 degrees, so we were above the normal of 57, and the record temp yesterday, 79, and that was set back in 1981. Currently, we sit at 49 degrees in Bakersfield. You might want to grab a light jacket if you're headed out the door. We have an east wind at 5. Visibility is good. We're going to start out in the 40s, and then this afternoon, mostly sunny and lower 60s once again. Tehachapi, you're at 37 right now. You have a westerly wind at 12. Visibility is good. And as we take a look at the watches and warnings, there's a wind advisory in place for the mountains, out in the desert as well until 9 a.m., where we could be looking at some wind gusts right around 55 miles per hour. Temperatures will start out in the 30s and then lower 50s and mostly sunny throughout the afternoon. I'll have more weather coming up in just a little bit, but first, a check of your traffic with Alex.
All right, Kev, thanks so much, and take you outside for the first time this morning. Here's a look at the 99 at Airport Drive, and as you can see, it's looking pretty good on that side of town. Just keep in mind, of course, all the construction that's in that area. And but the good news is that there's no major incidents to talk about right now to start off your Wednesday. We'll have another check coming up in about 15 minutes. 5:02, we begin with this morning with an update on that large explosion at a home in Southwest Bakersfield. We first told you about this story as breaking news last night on 17 News at 6. Take a look at this. It was a massive fire. Several viewers sent us video of the intense flames and thick billowing black smoke. The home was on Privet Pl in a Seven Oaks neighborhood. That's just south of the park at Riverwalk and right next to the Bakersfield Fire and Police substations. Officers say they saw the explosion and went to help. It's still not clear what exactly caused the blaze. This morning, we're learning the names of the people badly burned in the fire. Police say Jay, Matthew, and Austin Hanner were inside the home at the time of the explosion. Jay and Matthew Hanner were burned and taken to the hospital. Police say Austin Hanner did not have any visible injuries and was detained.
5:03 now this morning, homicide investigators are still trying to piece together what led up to a deadly stabbing of a local student near Foothill High School. Here's a map to give perspective on where it happened. The sheriff's office says there were 2 crime scenes, one on Highway 184 and Foothill Road, the other at Pioneer and Park Drives. Deputies were called to the first scene just after 2:30 yesterday afternoon. When they got there, they say there were about 300 people, many of them students, gathering around one victim.
Well, for any instance that involves schools, especially with the school possibly just getting out, there's going to be a lot of school kids there. There's going to be a lot of attention drawn to that certain incident. So I can imagine that it was probably very unnerving for the deputies to arrive with such a large group of people there.
Deputies and firefighters performed life-saving measures on the student, but he died at the scene. They were then alerted to 2 more stabbing victims on Pioneer Drive, a juvenile and an adult. They were taken to the hospital. KCSO says a weapon was found nearby and a person of interest was taken into custody. No word yet this morning on whether that person has been arrested. If you have any information or video of yesterday's incidents, call KCSO at 861-3110, or to remain anonymous, you can call the Secret Witness Hotline at 322-4040.
The Kern High School District says grief counselors will be on campus at Foothill High School today in the wake of yesterday's violence. The district released a statement yesterday, reading in part, Foothill High School and the entire Kern High School District community are shocked and deeply saddened by the senseless violence that took place outside Foothill High School. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the students' family and to staff and students at Foothill. We'll continue to bring you updates on any new information as we get more about this case. You can remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for all updates. You can also get updates on our 17 News app and get alerts sent directly to your phone. And you can find all of this information on our website, kget.com.
The Bakersfield City Council is set to vote on a location for a new low-barrier homeless shelter tonight. There are several options for the proposed shelter on where it could go, some being met with fierce opposition. At community meetings, some voiced opinions that the city should work with county officials first before going forward with the plan. Bakersfield Homeless Center CEO Lewis Gill says regardless of the decision, there needs to be an investment on solutions.
Everybody knows that something has to be done to expand the safety net. So whatever decision the city council makes, they have to invest in increasing emergency beds. Somewhere there has to be an expansion.
Gill says right now we cannot wait. The meeting starts tonight at 5:15 at City Hall, and coming up this morning in about an hour, Gill will join us along with City Councilman Andre Gonzalez to talk more about this issue.
Your time now is 5:06, and the murder trial of Leslie Chance is coming to an end.
Closing arguments are underway, which means jurors are one step closer to deciding Chance's fate. 17th Vanessa Dillon has been in the courtroom, and she has more.
As the prosecution went over evidence used to allege Chance killed her husband in 2013, one argument remained consistent, that Chance murdered her husband Todd in cold blood, and it was a premeditated, well thought out, and well executed killing. Prosecutor Arthur Norris walked the jury through the prosecution's case, arguing Chance murdered her husband for financial gain in 2013. But this alleged motive, which has shaped much of the prosecution's argument against Chance, was deemed secondary by Norris this morning. Norris told jurors her primary motive in Todd's murder was Todd's ex-fiancée. Norris says Chance killed her husband out of jealousy. And summarizing his closing arguments, Norris said Chance lied when she took the witness stand.
Money was there, it was an issue, but it was definitely a secondary one. The primary one was Carrie Williams. This was a murder committed out of jealousy.
In the defense's closing arguments, Chance's attorney, Tony Lidgett, argued the prosecution's evidence was nothing but assumptions. He began with arguing the alleged motive of financial gain was inaccurate, telling the jury the couple did not have financial issues at the time of Todd's death. He also said Chance didn't know about Todd's ex-fiancée until days after his murder. The theme of the defense argument is Chance's behavior leading up to her husband's death was unsuspicious, alleging her innocence.
It seems like this case has been built on a number of assumptions. Unless the evidence proves Janae guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, she is entitled to an acquittal, and you must find her not guilty.
Lidgett will continue his closing arguments tomorrow morning. If she's found guilty, Chance faces life in prison. Reporting in the studio, I'm Vanessa Dillon, 17 News.
And again, those closing arguments continue this morning in just a few hours. Meantime, the woman who killed her husband, a popular local chef in 2017, is expected back on the witness stand this morning. Michaela Bowers shot and killed Ray Ingram, the chef who owned the restaurant Jay's Place in Bakersfield. But the defense says it was self-defense. Prosecutors argue she was upset Ingram had bought her and another woman similar Valentine's Day gifts. Bowers took the stand in her own defense yesterday as she faces murder charges. Yesterday, she claimed Ingram physically abused her, but she never called police or left him because of her son. She's expected to resume her testimony at 9:45 today. Our cameras are not allowed inside the courtroom for testimony, but our reporters are there, and you can follow along on our KGET Twitter page.
From our road work file, a heads up for your morning commute. Crews with the 24th Street Improvement Project, are closing Bay Street on the north side of 24th starting at 7 a.m. The contractor is installing a drainage pipe across the roadway. You can use C, D, or F streets to get around the closure. The road is expected to be back open by 5 p.m. tomorrow.
It's 5:09 now. The possibility of turning jails into ICE detention centers in McFarland caused quite the uproar last night.
17's Amber Freyes was there inside the meeting and has more on the story, plus protester reactions.
And a look at your forecast. That's coming up right after the break.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News with Maddie Jansen, Alex Fisher, and Kevin Charette with your Pinpoint Doppler forecast. This is 17 News at Sunrise.
Welcome back. A large crowd packed the McFarland City Council chambers. They were there to protest proposed changes that would allow 2 prisons in the city to serve as immigration detention centers.
17's Amber Freyes was there and has more on the story.
Those for and against the proposed changes took turns making sure their voices were heard before any decision is made.
People power!
Chants, cheers, and colorful signs united a group of immigration advocates against a proposal that would bring 2 detention centers to McFarland.
So we are in opposition because there will be fear in the community.
The rally was against Geo Group, a private company that wants to turn Golden State Modified Community Correctional Facility and Central Valley Modified Community Correctional Facility into detention centers. This would expand Kern County's capacity for immigrant detention from 400 to 1,800. The company says the facilities would increase economic development in a city in dire need of it.
There are many benefits regarding the repurposing of the Golden State and Central Valley facilities as annexes.
According to Geo Group, available jobs would increase from 154 to 173. Entry-level salaries would increase by $60,000. Geo Group would pay the city $1 per day per bed, totaling over $500,000 annually. $500,000 in property taxes and $1.5 million in utilities.
GEO does not stand for Gathering Enforcement Operations. It stands for giving
Nobody wants any kind of setback or hardships or anything like that. We pretty much just want to continue working with the company of GEO. It's been really good.
All right, sorry about that. Having some trouble with the audio there. We will get that story fixed and bring it back to you. That was 17's Amber Freyes reporting. 5:21 now. The Bakersfield Police Department's cracking down on illegal street racing, but says it needs the public's help. Last night, the department hosted a community forum at Independence High School. The public was invited to discuss the growing concerns about street racing and how to put the brakes on it moving forward.
It is not a law enforcement issue that we can eliminate alone. Enforcement, absolutely a part of our overall strategy, but our goal is to develop partnerships throughout our community to develop a comprehensive plan to make our streets and our businesses safe.
In the last few weeks, BPD has impounded several vehicles and issued dozens of citations for street racing. Some of those in attendance suggested opening a track for those who enjoy street racing as a hobby.
The Kern County agriculture community continues to promote a safer work environment, this time with the Spray Safe program. The program was created by a group of farmers in Kern County to encourage safe application of spray methods through education, communication, and cooperation. The program's chair says Spray Safe works to prevent spray accidents and makes the community a lot safer. To learn more about this program, you can attend an informational event this Friday from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the Kern County Fairgrounds.
Teenagers at Kern County's Juvenile Hall now have a place to relax and clear their minds. Yesterday was the grand opening of a new library at the detention center. There are 3,000 books on dozens of topics to choose from, all donated by the community. The project has been in the works for about a year. The center's staff painted the walls, the bookshelves, and the murals. Their goal is to expand the library to other unused rooms in the building. The center also wants to bring in authors to speak to the teens. What a great idea.
It's a great program right there. All right, well, the Super Bowl is next weekend.
And Wyatt speculated it could be the most expensive one yet.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Ticket prices to Super Bowl 54 in Miami could be the most expensive ever. The highly anticipated matchup is set between the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers. At last check on Tuesday, the least expensive ticket on SeatGeek was around $4,400. The most expensive over $24,000 per ticket. This will be the Chiefs' first trip to the Super Bowl in 50 years. It's the 49ers' first trip to the Super Bowl since 2013, where they lost to the Baltimore Ravens. The 49ers have won 5 Super Bowls in franchise history, with the most recent win in 1995. More than 40% of American adults do not have enough savings to cover an unexpected $1,000 emergency. That's the finding of a new report from Bankrate.com. 37% would need to borrow the money in some fashion. 16% say they would finance it with a credit card and pay it off over time. 14% would hit up family or friends for a loan, and 7% say they would take out a personal loan. If you can sock away $20 a week, you'll have more than $1,000 by the end of the year. Wallet Hub's out with a list of the best and worst states for driving. The report compared all 50 states against 31 key metrics, including cost of ownership and maintenance, traffic and infrastructure, safety and access to vehicles. Iowa snagged the top spot, the best state to drive in, followed by Tennessee and North Carolina. California, well, it ended up at the bottom. It's spot 47. It was followed by Washington, Rhode Island, and Hawaii in last place.
You know, that does not surprise me.
Nope, not at all.
I feel like every time I'm in another state and I'm driving around, I'm always shocked by how nice the roads are and everything. I'm like, oh man, these roads are so nice.